Hello everyone, welcome to NAB Delhi's YouTube channel. Today we have a very special guest with us. His name is Samyak Jain. He needs no introduction because for the past few days, his success story has been making waves across all social media platforms. But Samyak Jain is a low vision candidate who has secured AIR 7 in UPSC CSE 2021. So, सबसे पहले तो heartiest congratulations to you, Samyak.
Thank you, Muskan. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
No, it's an honor. Samyak, I believe it's a moment of great pride, not just for you, but also for, I believe, everyone who has been associated with you. So I want to start how was the moment when you found out about the result?
Muskan, I can not define or describe that moment. That was the moment when, for first few minutes, I thought that maybe this result is fake. I cannot get it, and soon the real result will come out. And that would be more big. So, but it took me some time to sink in that okay, this result is at least real, and that I have actually secured AIR 7. And after that, I cried for like half an hour or more than that, and me and my mother both, we just hugged each other and we just went on crying. And we informed a few of our relatives who had been closely associated with this journey of UPSC and even before that. And so they all cried. So it was my dad was also very happy when he came to know. He was not in India at that point of time, but he took the evening flight and he came back the next morning. So
Great.
again, cannot be described.
Yeah, when you're sharing about this, I got goosebumps. It's incredible. Samyak, so when we talk about UPSC and every year UPSC results come out and we come across a lot of stories and a lot of sacrifices and struggles of each candidate. How would you say your struggles were different?
Ma'am, I believe that all of those 685 candidates that have been selected, for rather all of those 5 lakh candidates who appeared for the prelims, they all had each one of them had a struggle themselves.
Yeah.
And yes, this was my struggle, my problem, my issue was my struggle. Somebody else had a different struggle, but I didn't consider my struggles to be different from their struggles because for each one of us, our struggles are the biggest problems, and then there are no problems bigger than those. But I've read other success stories of other kids in this year's UPSC as well, and in front of them, sometimes even I think that my struggles were nothing. So I didn't make a mountain out of a molehill.
That's a great way to look at it. Samyak, what was your strategy while preparing for the exam?
Ma'am, I used to study for 6 to 7 hours a day with consistency. Again, that is what I've been saying since the past 2 weeks, and I again repeat that consistency is required.
Yeah.
Full concentration, studying with full concentration for up to 7 hours a day. Moreover, constant evaluation, giving more and more mock tests, answer writing practice from early on itself. What many candidates, aspirants do that they start answer writing only after they clear prelims, but by the time it's too late. Actually, the time is too the window is too little for them to make a mark, and so they are not able to clear mains even if they clear prelims. So it is important that you start mains, if you that you consider mains as the real exam, and prelims is just a way to reach the mains. So keeping the right mindset is important, and answer writing is also very important.
So practice and consistency, and of course, good time management.
Yes.
Yeah. So Samyak, when we think of UPSC, the first thought that comes to mind is you have to study for 10, 12 hours every day, and you have to no social life. You have to lock yourself in a room, and things like that. How realistic is that assumption? And
Ma'am,
what have your top three priorities has been, not just as an aspirant but also as a person?
I didn't get your second question, but I can answer your first question, Muskan.
Okay.
Uh, yes, you have to cut down a little on your social life. I sometimes have said that the best place to prepare for UPSC is the Himalayas. If you can. So, but I was active on social media, not very active on social media, but yes, I occasionally scrolled through my Facebook and Twitter, sometimes even Instagram. I used them to relax in my free time. I did use them to relax. And again, talking about studying for 10 to 12 hours a day, uh, I don't think that is feasible for a long time. If I'm giving 100% of my concentration, then I cannot study for more than 7-8 hours a day. And if somehow I manage to study for 10 to 12 hours one day, then I won't be able to study with consistency the next day as well. So the average
Yeah.
automatically would come down. So that is what I'm saying, consistency, and that is what it is.
Okay. So my second question was, Samyak, that what has your top three priorities has been, not just as an aspirant, but also as a person. So we believe that studies is of course important, but what were your other priorities as well?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. See, my priorities would be balancing everything in your life. Uh,
Yeah.
so you don't have to give up on a lot of things to crack UPSC. See, yes, you have to maybe cut down on a little things, but you can continue doing what your hobbies are. And because UPSC is not just a written exam, it also tests your personality. So if
Yeah.
you are just becoming a bookworm and studying all day long, that somewhere impacts your personality, and maybe cuts down on your personality test marks. So therefore, I used to study. I used to watch movies, web series, TV shows, going out for walks, talking with friends, spending time with friends. I have done all of that, but in regulated amounts. That is the key.
Okay. So Samyak, what were the resources that you accessed for your preparation, and how many of them were accessible? Yeah.
Ma'am, most of them I would say were accessible, especially after downloading books from this Sugamya Pustakalaya, which is a very good government initiative, and you
Yeah.
can find almost any book on that website, on that portal. The thing is that I use the same books as being used by any other aspirant, wherein your NCRTs become your base, and beyond that there are some books for some topics like modern history. You have your Spectrum, your M. Lakshmikant is there for your polity and constitution, and your Nitin Singhania is there for your art and culture. So those are some extra books. Other than that, I relied solely on NCRTs.
Okay. So, Samyak, would you say that, geographical location and social cultural capital, they also have an impact on one's access to the right resources?
Ma'am, I don't think geographical location, maybe social cultural, maybe because then you have a circle of friends who can guide you what book to read and how to read it and how not to read it, who can also
Yeah.
solve your doubts and everything. Whenever you get stuck, they can pull you out of it. So yes, having a group of friends who are equally studious and equally dedicated to the task of UPSC, then that definitely helps, and that did help me a lot. But as far as geography is concerned, ma'am, I think there are UPSC people crack UPSC from all corners of India, and I don't think geography is any hindrance in that.
Okay. So, like, I meant, for example, the right resources, accessible resources. For example, if someone is from a very remote area from India, so would they have more difficulty in accessing the right, resources, especially if they come from a, uh, you know, differently abled, if they're
Yeah,
differently abled?
right,
Would it
right.
be more difficult for them?
Ma'am, as long as they have a good working internet connection,
Yeah.
not even 24 hours, even 1 to 2 hours a day, I think they are good to go. Because what you need is I studied only offline, but I used internet to just download the material, and that too was a once that task that you do once. Once you have downloaded the book, you don't need to download it again and again. It is there on your computer. So no matter how remote you are, I think that can become an advantage in some sorts. Even if you're remote, you just need some access to internet wherein you can download all the material, which is very readily available as far as UPSC is concerned, and all of it is very accessible, I must say. And so yeah, the remoteness must not be a hindrance.
Okay. So since we are talking about accessibility, I want to ask, how would you say that the accessibility scenario in India has evolved over the past decade, and has it made things easier for people with disabilities to follow their dreams?
Ma'am, I think I can say that in the past decade, uh, the accessible technology has improved a lot. Now there are softwares in the computer, and they have really made life easier. Now there are smart apps in your smartphone
Yeah.
which can detect and read texts, and which can do a lot of other things. You can go out and shop, and they allow you to do a lot of things. So definitely, technology has made life much easier. in the past 10 years. And yes, I can say that it is due to this accessible technology, that I can do what others can do in 60 minutes using a computer. I can do the same thing in 45 minutes or less. So it actually gives me an advantage.
Would you share about some of the accessible technologies that you used and you use on a
Definitely,
regular basis?
definitely. Ma'am, I have a Windows laptop computer, and I use JAWS, Jobs Access with Speech, which is my
Yeah.
main software that I use. Apart from that, ma'am, for reading books and all, I used Kurzweil 1000, which is again a very popular software in these circles. These two are the key pillars of my study. Apart from that, Muskan, I can say that in my phone there are like TalkBack and some apps as well, Google Lookout, Smart Guns, etc., which do help you to cover up those nitty-gritties.
Okay. So, Samyak, like you'll soon be an administrator. What are your expectations from yourself as an administrator?
Ma'am, Muskan, sorry,
Yeah, yeah,
I want to,
please.
I want to perform not just as good as others, but in fact better than my other peers. So that I have set an example of sorts, but I think now the world has even more expectations from me, even larger expectations from me, and those I want to fulfill somehow. And yes, me performing better than my peers would automatically set an example, would automatically change the psychology that people have in our society, unfortunately, against people with disabilities.
Yeah.
And so that would be a big boulder that I would be carrying on my shoulder.
So based on this, I'll ask one more question. What are the areas that you're looking for, on which you would like to work?
Yes. So my primary focus would be on improving the policy implementation, because I think during the course of my preparation and even before that, I have realized that the government policies are again very good, but somewhere we are lacking in their implementation. Secondly, apart from that, ma'am, I can work. I want to work on education, especially girl child education and women empowerment. So I think those things.
That's great. So, Samyak, you talked about stigma in your last, when we're talking. How do you think, social stigma makes things more difficult for people with disabilities to, create a place for themselves in the society?
Hmm. Yes, I know it does change their perspective. Actually, what happens is either people pity them or
Yeah,
people keep them on a mantle. They don't treat them as equal. Either they're below or higher, and that is the biggest problem with this stigma, that they don't. People before this, people used to pity me or something. Now people are keeping me at a mantle, right? Because I am this inspiring story that have inspired I don't know how many people and all that. So
yeah.
all I'm asking that is to treat me as equal, to keep me as equal as any other civil servant, to have the same expectations from me as you might have from any other civil servant, and to have the same frustration with me if and when I am not able to perform as per your expectations. So yeah.
Okay. Samyak, what is the one message that, or one, philosophy that you absolutely live by each day?
Even this too shall pass. I
Oh,
can't, you know, when a lot of bad luck came to my way, I was passing through very, very dark times, and I had seen very good times and I had seen very bad times. So I consider my life as a roller coaster journey with its ups and downs. So I always tell myself, this too shall pass. Even in the
that's
the best of times, and even in the worst of times. Yeah.
that's great. I was going through your story wherein I found that your engineering phase was the time where the vision loss happened, and that was one of the most difficult times in your life, and you were figuring out your career aspects as well. So, but from the earlier point, how has the shift has been? Like, what were the main challenges that you faced during that time?
There were multiple challenges actually. I had to relook my entire life. I had to, I was giving a certain lifestyle and I had to change everything because many of the things I was doing earlier, I started realizing more and more of those things I cannot do anymore. And even the normal things that you need to do, which you cannot do without. So I needed to find different ways of doing those same things. So my entire lifestyle changed, my thinking changed. And the biggest challenge that I faced was a psychological one, because
Yeah.
somewhere down the line you lose your confidence to go out in public, to to do a job or anything. So psychologically, again, it was more tormenting than anything else. Yes, it did have a physical impact. I was not able to do many things, but psychological impact that cannot be compared to any other thing. And I think people like me who are suffering from this thing, and read blinds, as they are called, for them I think it becomes very important that they go through proper counseling, if such is available for them. And yeah, so that is important.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, proper counseling, do you believe that it is, easily accessible in India? Is it available for
Ma'am,
people with,
again, counseling is very, very expensive in India. It is
yeah,
rare to find, especially in tier two, tier three cities. And thirdly, there is a stigma associated with counseling itself.
yeah,
So, unfortunately, India has not done, our country right now is not doing very well as far as disability counseling is concerned. So maybe I'll work on it if I get a chance to.
that's great. That's great. Samyak, so for our viewers today who are watching this interview, will watch this discussion, what is the one message that you would like to, give to them? There, a lot of our viewers would be visually impaired, and
Mhm.
what is the one thing that you would like to say to them?
I would want to say to them that do not consider yourself as disabled. Do not consider yourself as less than anyone else. You are more equal than anyone else. You are better than anyone else, and you can show the world that there is no need to take sympathy on you. And it is keep fighting, keep a positive spirit, keep your chin high, and you sure be successful.
That's great. That's great. So Samyak, right now I think it's a period of transition. So it's like you have achieved something as well. It's a ending of a preparation journey, but also it's like a beginning of a whole new journey, of a whole new life as an administrator. What are you looking forward to it?
Ma'am, I'm very excited actually for my next journey. Actually,
Yeah.
I literally had this dream for past many years to be a civil servant, to be an IAS officer. And right now, I can't wait to join Gabasna and to start with my training. I'm very, very excited about my future.
That's great. All the very best for it. And thanks a lot for speaking with us. And I believe for all our viewers, it would be an insightful and also a very inspirational conversation. Uh, Thank you, Samyak.
Thank you, Muskan. Thank
It's
you for
been a
inviting
great
me.
conversation.
It's been a great conversation.
Yeah. So for our viewers, NAB Delhi will continue to organize more such interactions in the future. And for more details, please visit our website, nabdelhi.in, or contact us at 92123 19672. And all the very best for you, Samyak. And it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's
Thank
been
you.
likewise.